You are welcome to this channel, and today we are going to look at the biography of a Ugandan political activist and lawyer who has been the president of the Democratic Party since 2010, a two-time presidential candidate, and who served as the Local Council 5 chairman for Gulu District, and that's none other than Norbert Mao. We are going to start from his early life, education, opposition times up to now joining the ruling government under Yoweri Museveni. Alright, let's get started. Norbert Mao was born on 12th March in 1967. His father was Dusman Oke Sr., an Acholi man, who died in 2016 at the age of 74, and his mother was a Munyankole. Mao attended Mwiri Primary School in Jinja and briefly went to Wairaka College in Jinja District before attending Namiryango College, an all-boys boarding high school in Mukono District from 1982 until 1988. He then attended Makerere University between 1988 until 1991, graduating with a law degree. He served as the guild president of Makerere University between 1990 and 1991. That was after standing against the government candidate, the late Mayombo, and defeating him in an election that was marked by deadly violence. Mayombo later joined the military and rose in the ranks to the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Defense before his death. Mr. Mao's student guild speaker was the late Jacob Olanya, who was a Uganda People's Congress supporter. The late Olanya later turned out to be one of Mr. Mao's best friends despite of their political differences. Norbert Mao went on to obtain the diploma in law practice from the Law Development Center in 1992. In 2003, Mao was admitted to Yale University under the Yale World Fellows Program, where he spent 1 year at the New Haven, Connecticut campus. On 8th August 2003, Norbert Mao got married to his wife Naomi Achieng Odong, but they divorced on 27th May 2019 after 16 years of marriage, where it is said that they had 2 sons. Justice Godfrey Namundi dissolved the marriage in his judgment delivered on May 27, 2019 on a petition filed by Achieng accusing Mao of cruelty and desertion. Mao is said to have deserted his wife for 8 years. Mr. Mao speaks Luo, Luganda, Runyankole, and English very well. From 1992 until 1994, Mao worked as an associate attorney in the offices of Kabungo and Company Advocates, a company-based law firm. Between 1994 and 1996, he worked as a legal counsel for the Legal Aid Project of the Uganda Law Society in their Gulu office. In 1996, he was elected to the Parliament of Uganda, representing Gulu municipality. He was considered one of the toughest legislators that put the government on tenterhooks, especially on the army handling of the population during the Lord's Resistance Army insurgency in the north. However, in October 2001, when the UPDF returned from DR Congo, he was one of the few opposition legislators to welcome them back and even stood on top of one of the battle tanks at Uganda border to show his support of the troops. Many government supporters praised him as being patriotic. 1 year later, in November 2002, President Museveni appointed Mr. Mao as a member on a 6-member committee led by Elia Kategaya, the then Uganda First Deputy Prime Minister, which would lead talks with the Lord Resistance Army rebels. The committee led the peace talks with the LRA's chief, Joseph Kony, a ceasefire and peace in northern Uganda. Mr. Mao said in 2003 that Kony talked to him on phone about the peace talks. In 2006, Mr. Mao would later be part of the Acholi delegation that met Kony in the then southern Sudan. Mr. Mao attributed the visit as the commencement of the peace agreement between the LRA rebels and the government. While in the parliament, he also served on the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee and the Public Accounts Committee. In 2006, when he opted not to contest again as an MP, he went for the Gulu District chairperson post. Mr. Mao said his council was dominated by ruling government councillors, but he worked with them without any problems. On a local radio station in 2020, Norbert Mao said that he worked with the NRM councillors in harmony and there was no pulling of ropes like you witness in the council of Elias Lukwago, the Lord Mayor of Kampala Capital City Authority. Some of the DP leaders accuse him of sidelining the few opposition in his council in favor of the NRM councillors when he was the chairman of Gulu District. Mr. Mao leaned more on President Museveni's government by working with NRM's late Colonel Walter Ochola, the then Gulu Resident District Commissioner, than the opposition. The allegations by the members of the opposition that Mr. Mao was an NRM mole in the DP spread widely when he stood for presidency of the party in 2010. It followed a viral photograph of him whispering in President Museveni's ear during an event in Gulu District. Mr. Mao said he was asking President Museveni to help the late Olanya, who was sick and was short of funds. The photograph was used by the opposition members during the inter-party cooperation to decampaign him. His opponents alleged that Mr. Mao had been compromised by President Museveni since his former wife Naomi Achieng Odong worked in State House, the allegation Mr. Mao denied. The differences between DP members reached the pinnacle when Mr. Mao was accused by Mr. Lukwago's faction of getting funds from ruling party to hold a delegates conference in 2015. Mr. Lukwago and MP Namboze organized events to revive DP in Uganda region, but Mr. Mao blocked the events, prompting the police to arrest Mrs. Namboze at Insambia Sharing Hall on March 31, 2017. Mrs. Namboze on the same day said Mao and Dennis Midday had a calculated agenda for DP to die out through inactivity and deliberately refusing to hold party meetings. Mrs. Namboze added that DP is running as an organ of the state where all the decisions of the party are reached after consulting the ruling party and executed by Uganda police. Mao is also a chairman of the East African chapter of the Parliamentary Network on the World Bank and a member of its secretariat. He belongs to the Democratic Party and publicly indicated his intention to contest the 2011 Uganda presidential elections, either as the nominee of his party or, if not nominated on the party ticket, as an independent. He was elected as the president of the Democratic Party on 20th February 2010 and ran for president of Uganda in the 2011 general elections. Since then, DP faced a lot of challenges that led to a split and deep polarization at the height of the elections. Mr. Mao attracted only a small share of the vote and President Yoweri Museveni was elected to another term. Mao and the inter-party coalition presidential candidates Kizza Besigye and Olalo Otunu, among others, protested the election results in spite of its early approval by the international observers and the United States as largely free and fair. During this election, Norbert Mao on the DP ticket came in the third position with 147,917 votes, that's giving him 1.86%. Another incident was in 2014 where Mr. Mao was sick and evacuated from Gulu to Entebbe International Airport on his way to a hospital in Nairobi, Kenya for treatment using UPDF helicopter. This was used by the opposition to pin him as an NRM Moro. He said that the army helicopter that evacuated him had been requested by his friend, the late Jacob Olanya. In 2020, the DP leaders, especially those in Uganda, attempted to use their party to back Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi's presidential ambition, but Mr. Mao declined, insisting that he would stand. Mr. Kivumbi accused Mr. Mao of being sponsored by Mr. Museveni to frustrate them from fielding a single opposition presidential candidate. Mr. Kivumbi added that he had very reliable information that his party president Norbert Mao was being used by the ruling NRM party to also contest in the 2021 general election, a move he said aimed at weakening the new People Power Pressure Group headed by Mr. Kyagulanyi. During this election, Norbert Mao declined, coming in the 5th position with 57,682 votes, declining to 0.56% compared to the elections that he had in 2011, where he came in the 3rd position with 1.86%. Mr. Mao's cooperation with the ruling party was evident during the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue and even attacked other parties, including the National Unity Platform that refused to join the dialogue with President Museveni. And finally, on 20th July 2022, Mao was appointed Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs by President Museveni. This, to many opposition leaders and members, has proved the allegations that Mr. Mao was an NRM Mao planted in the opposition. As you are still thinking of the reason why Mao crossed with one foot from the opposition to the NRM government, kindly subscribe to this channel and like the video. You can as well comment with what you would like us to bring to you in the next video. Stay blessed and see you in the next one.